morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Invest Austria conference here from the beautiful Apothekertrakt in Schönbrunn in Vienna, Austria. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Stefan Lenglinger, and I'll be hosting the event right here from the Maria Theresian stage. Delighted to announce that Natalie Staniewicz is here with me today as well. She'll be right next door at the Maximilian stage. Natalie.
The motto today is aiming to wake us up and really push us ahead. It's all about the crisis that is currently there, and are we still asleep? The storm is ahead, still asleep, because Austria's capital market needs more than hope. Because let's be honest, hope is not a strategy. A strategy needs to be clear, it needs to guide us through these turbulent economic and geopolitical times, it needs to push ahead the investment space, and really give us a clear path for Austria and all of our adjacent regions. We will hearing a lot of this motto today throughout the stages and throughout, hopefully, strategies that the speakers will tell us more about. So, Stefan, what can we expect on the stages?
Well, there will be quite a lot. One thing I'm personally looking forward to is an interview and a panel discussion that I'll be having as well with the CEO of the Wiener Börse, so Austria's stock exchange. But that's only one of many, many highlights that we have planned for you. There will be over 20 sessions in total. We have more than 60 speakers from various countries who will be here with us as well, 20 plus startups, so there'll be a lot of opportunity to gain knowledge on new perspectives, and also we urge you to connect with the speakers who will be here today. You'll have a lot of opportunities for small sessions and just to network, of course, and as we all know, you like sharing this as well on LinkedIn or elsewhere, and we have a photo wall that just this quick detail prepared for you as well, right in the foyer where you can take pictures as well. But what we're most looking forward to is the deepness of the conversations that we'll be having here on stage in the sessions, but also in private when you get to know each other. Yeah.
And then you can join me at 11 o'clock, if you don't want to only stay on this stage, at the Maximilian stage, where we will be kicking off with a session that is called Stay or Come, how to really keep and attract entrepreneurs with insights from Carinthia and the Vienna region. So please use the formats of these two stages. Use the one-on-ones. Use the expo area. And I hope that we will all be meeting latest again at the flying dinner tonight.
I think that's something that we're all looking forward to. So far, a brief outlook on what we have planned. Now we'll have some welcoming words from Daniela Haunstein, the Managing Director of Invest Austria, as well as Niki Futter, the Chairman of the Board. Please welcome them with a round of applause. Thank you.
So, good morning everyone and welcome from my side. I'm very happy that so many here showed up, and it's already 5th edition, and it's a room full of investors, entrepreneurs, visionaries, policymakers, and a lot of experts from the private capital market. And yes, the motto of this year is "Storm ahead, still asleep," as you already heard. So, is hope enough? No. We all sense the storm coming up. I think the technology is changing every sector in our lives. We have fierce global competition, and the capital moves across border faster than ever. And we are facing really increasingly unstable geopolitical environment. And in many ways, we still hope that things will figure out somehow, but hope is not a strategy, as we heard, and we will hear really some frightening facts today. So be aware. But I also see some positive signals, because several members of the government to whom we reached out, including the Federal Chancellor Christian Stocker, they accepted our invitation to participate as speakers in this conference and to engage in this really important discussion. Unfortunately, Christian Stocker, as many of you already know, he has, due to health-related matters, he cannot show up here in person, but he sent us his keynote in a video message. And I think the engagement is really there. So just recently, the government decided to swiftly implement the Austrian Fund of Funds, an important step to mobilize both public and private capital to strengthen our venture ecosystem. And that's progress. And it shows that Austria understands the urgency of the moment. And last week, I attended the IBAN summit in Brussels, and also there, for the first time, representatives from the European Commissions, they were present, including the Commissioner Ekaterina Zaharieva, and she is responsible for startups, research, and innovation. And I think some of you, they were there, and I think it wasn't just a symbolic visit. I think they clearly recognized the urgent need for action. And as Philippe TB said so well, we must gain speed through alignment. And that's exactly what Europe is now trying to do. Commissioner Zaharieva announced the launch of the Scale Up Europe Fund, a multi-billion euro initiative designed to provide the late-stage capital that Europe's scale-ups so urgently need. And in addition, there is a joint initiative to encourage the pension funds to become more active in venture capital, because we have a really big gap and a difference between the US and Europe. And so let's hope that we will get some backwind from Brussels in that case. And they are also working on the 28th regime to overcome the fragmentation of Europe from a legal side. And what I personally love most, because it's one of my favorite topics that Ekaterina mentioned, was that in the next European semester, they will encourage the member states to introduce tax incentives to reward the risk-taking and attract private capital. And we hope that Austria, like so very often, will be a model student in swiftly implementing these recommendations. Because the truth simply is, Europe has no time to waste, and if we don't move faster, others will set the pace for us. And that's why the gatherings like this, they matter so much, because capital alone doesn't build innovation, people do. And it takes trust, cooperation, and courage to take risks together. And I know Austrians are usually excellent at savings. And last week, reminded us we had the Weltspartag, the World Savings Day. And let's make this day Investors and Investment Day. Because we have to transform a lot of those savings into investments. Investments in innovation, in entrepreneurship, and in Europe's future. I assume that most here, they already have their fair share in private markets, but we need a lot of more to the table and to bring into this community. Savings, they build stability, but investing builds possibility. So I encourage you, use the conference, listen to the inspiring keynotes, to honest panel discussions, join the pitch sessions, and visit the Startup Expo. Meet new partners and start conversations. Build trust, because co-investments don't happen on spreadsheets. They happen between people and which do believe in the same vision. So intentions now are not enough anymore. We really must come into action, and that's very fast. So we need bold decisions and risk appetite, not only from you and investors, but also from politics. So enjoy the conference.
Thank you very much, Daniela, for your words. And I'm not sure who is in charge of picking this picture of myself. I not always look that critical and sad, even though the times are at a stage where we can't be too happy. As we all know, we are having troubled times. Anyhow, we tried to do our best. When we formed Invest Austria 2.5 years ago, coming out of the Austrian Angels Investors Association and the Austrian Venture Capital Organization, to form an organization that is representing the whole private equity market in Austria, we did not know how much and how far we would go in developing the political arena. And I have to say, we have become a political organization. We have become a lobbying organization. And for the first time, for many, many years that many people were working on. We now got the decision of the government to have the fund of fund for Austria to be set up within the next 18 months. And this is a huge success. So actually, this is a reason to look more happy than here. We are having a great day in front of us. I hope you will all enjoy it. We will hear a lot about the Fund of Fund, and at the end of the day, our State Secretary Elisabeth Seehetner will join us, and we'll have a keynote to finish up the conference. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I had a meeting 10 days ago with her, and from her perspective, all is set to go forward with the Fund of Fund for Austria, which, by the way, is one of the latest in Europe to be implemented, because most of the member states already have this type of instruments in their capital markets. So, as always, for people who know me and who know our events, I remind you that we are using the Chatham House rules here, and I'd ask you to also keep to that. And for the German-speaking guests, we usually in our group use the informal du and not the formal Sie. So I invite all of you German-speaking ones to stick to this. Of course, up to you. For the English-speaking ones, it doesn't matter. It's the same, okay? So enjoy the conference. Have a great day. And I now invite Andreas Pichler to the stage. And thank Erste Group for the generous support that they provide to us for the conference and for the whole organization. Thank you very much, Andreas.
Thanks a lot. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear friends. If I may say, I'm very honored to welcome you here at this conference in beautiful Schönbrunn on behalf of main sponsor Erste Group. In fact, Erste Group has been partnering with Invest Austria, or the predecessor organization, with this conference for many years already, because we are a strong believer that healthy financial markets, dynamic financial markets, have a big impact on economic growth in our home region. And private equity and venture capital is an important part of this ecosystem, and this conference definitely is the place to be for all of us who are engaged here. Indeed, I would like to use my opening address to speak about the relationship between finance and growth a little bit. First of all, because it's one topic I've been already working on at university times, and it was a major motivation for me to move into banking afterwards. And still today, it's very important, a very important guideline to do the right things in banking. As we have many guests from abroad and even from overseas, let me say that the first one who described this relationship between finance and growth was indeed Austrian economist Josef Schumpeter in his theory of economic development. The original German title was Theorie der wirtschaftlichen Entwicklung, which was first published here in Vienna, actually in 1912. And today is one of the few theories in economics that are widely accepted on a global scale by economists. Some of the aspects of this equation will be in the discussion forums today. For example, private equity and venture capital as risk capital providers, the availability of bank funding, which is very important, or for example, functioning capital markets. And we will discuss those topics then later in the panels. There's one common goal for all of this. This is funding, more funding for European companies and European innovation, which then in turn translates into economic growth in our region. Let's not be mistaken, today Europe is in a very challenging position. We are still a net importer of capital investment, of private capital investment. So we need to remain attractive to the outside world to attract investment into our region, while at the same time we need to try to unlock sources of capital we have here at home and that have been untapped so far. In this sense, we are delighted that policymakers, as you have mentioned already, that policymakers are present at this conference. Austrian Chancellor Stocker via video, and later on State Secretary Seehetner here on stage. I think this is a very promising sign, and it shows that private investment is also very high on the agenda of policymakers now in Austria. And this is very, very important because they need to understand that private capital is an important ally on their agenda when it comes to economic policy and to reach their policy goals like innovation, energy transition, and transformation of our economies, including the important topic of corporate succession. But let's not be naive and let's look beyond our borders. Europe is in tough competition on a global scale for private investment. We need to make our economies more efficient and also more flexible, and we need to guarantee stable and productive environment, and we need to act fast. Our Erste CEO, Peter Bosek, said in a recent newspaper interview, and I quote him here because it's always good to quote the CEO, "Austria is brimming with potential," he said, and he stressed the urgency of defining long-term goals and a clear roadmap that extends also beyond election cycles. For me, and regarding our topics here, this means, first of all, this means two things. One is we need to work together to encourage investment appetite, to unlock a little bit of the capital that sits on savings accounts, especially here in Austria, and also to mobilize some risk-taking mentality here in our region. So we need a culture of institutional investment also in private markets, which then in turn will benefit all of us, for example, when it comes to our pension wealth. And secondly, we need functioning dynamic capital markets, and we have to work hard on the respective environment for our capital markets. Let me say, we at Erste, we work hard every day in this direction, and as Peter Bosek said, our future cannot depend solely on government intervention, but it needs active citizens, it needs banks, insurance companies, pension funds who take part in this and try to channel private capital into this public purpose. At this moment, we at Erste, we sense a rising interest in private markets investments, both from our retail client base and also our institutional clients. We want to help our clients to make investments into the best managers available in Europe and also the best companies. And we apply our decades-long know-how in the region now as being the largest financial institution in CEE, pending our closing of our Polish acquisition, and with the full support of the Erste board. I think we already have the right products on offer. Niki mentioned the Fund of Fund initiatives, and we already have a Fund of Fund product, for example, in place for institutional clients, and we try to constantly expand our offering in private markets. Ladies and gentlemen, no doubt this is a difficult situation for the Austrian and for the European economies, but in this shared mindset of growth that we have here, I think I would like to send a positive message here, and I'm sure that together we can contribute to making a difference. And I wish you, all of you, a successful day with great conversations here at the conference, and especially as I see some younger colleagues here as well present in the room, please make use of this opportunity, approach decision makers, engage in the discussions, and I'm sure together we can shape the private equity and venture capital ecosystem. Thanks a lot and have a great day.